for them.
We analyze the undercurrents, expose the intrigues, and break down the narratives that define our democracy. Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki delivering razor-sharp analysis, and Ibuka Franklin and Chisom on the question wheel driving the conversation. We bring you the most compelling discussions on governance, policies, and power plays. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay ahead. The Polity, every weekdays at 9:15 a.m. Exclusive on Udala 104.7 FM Onitsha.
Yesterday I was in a trade cycle, and some persons in the trade cycle, including the driver, were of the opinion that the elections have been fought and won. And I asked a simple question: how do you sit in the comfort of your home and decide that an election has been fought and won? How did we come up with this mindset that it's of no need going to the polls, that the results have already been written before the elections even start? Why do we keep doing this to ourselves? Why do we keep, as a people, hovering around 10, sometimes at most 20%, at most 21% in every election, both internal and external, for a state that had a governor sworn in, and I think he was just there for about 14 days, for a state that has also had a sitting governor whisked away, what some persons would rather prefer to refer to as a kidnap, for a state that also happens to be one of those with the off-cycle governorship elections. As a matter of fact, one of those that started it. And so I wonder why the people would have that kind of political consciousness, or that kind of political, would I call it awakening, happening around them and in the state, and yet every now and then we still prefer to not be a part of the process. We leave it to just a few people, and at the end of the day they make decisions that are binding on every one of us. At this point, I think every Anambrarian that is of age to vote in any election should really have a rethink. Good morning to you and welcome to the Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. I am Chisom Chinedu. Franklin Ebuka is here. Good morning, Franklin.
Good morning. I was almost asking you, what do you have with these tricycle riders? But when the story,
they are my special friends.
So when the story veered, I said, okay, this time let me keep my mouth shut. But talking about the conversation you heard people, having in that very tricycle is not the very first time. Of course, this seems to be like the common mindset of the common man on the streets who believe that elections in Nigeria are not credible. Therefore, there's no need for people to go out and vote. But there is this question I have kept asking people of Anambra State, or people who reside here, or even people who reside outside Anambra State. The point that election in Zamfara State is said to be not credible does not mean the one in Anambra cannot be credible, or the one in Imo State was said to be incredible. It doesn't mean that the one in Anambra cannot be credible. How do I mean? I want us to take our minds back to the history of governorship elections in Anambra State, beginning from 1999 till now. Apart from the elections we had in 1999, and then the one that followed, can people of this very state, Jita cannot say these elections exactly? Let's begin from the time of P2B till now. Can the people of the state say that the people they voted during the elections were not the ones who eventually emerged? Let's begin from there. If the answer is in affirmative, then you can have there could be a point in what you are saying. But if your answer is in negative, then that means that you are just living in denial. Because the thing is this: we have not had the best of elections in Nigeria. There's no doubt about it. We have not had the best, but it does not mean that we have not had credible elections in this country. It doesn't mean that. The last time we were on this platform, I asked them, people who are celebrating Alex Oti of Abia State, the election in that very state, was it credible? If it was credible, so if they're going to have another election, wouldn't you go to vote? Now, for the election we had last time, the one that brought about Willie Obiano in his first tenure, would we say that it was credible? Then the one that brought him for the second tenure, would we say it was credible? Then the one that brought in Soludo for the first time, would we say it was credible? So if they were credible, why wouldn't you take part in this one, knowing that there are chances that is going to be credible? Because for Anambra State, I think we have been saying that Anambra seems to be like a special state where no one person determines what happens in the state, because the people there who live there and the citizens, they are very conscious about the political system. So that mindset that na to sigo gosia nka menka, it does not add up. And why am I even saying this? People do not even know that it's not as easy to rig election in today's Nigeria as it was in 1999, because we have had improvement in the system. We have had improvement. It's not that easy to do that. And if it's easy to even rig election and write the result, so these candidates, why are they spending their money going from one point to the other to canvass their vote? Why are they even paying you to vote for them? So I think we should, there's no need, there's no need living in this past and thinking that it's going to help us.
All right, then. We are not alone in the studio. Dr. Tony Olisambeki is here to do justice to all of the matters on our desk this morning. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Chisom Chined. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, the Anambra, Onitsha, wherever you are and wherever you are listening to us from. It's always a pleasure to be here. Just as we know, the die is cast, and we know what awaits us tomorrow. There is no doubt. Everybody is ready, and we can tell you that there is peace, there is serenity everywhere, there is calmness everywhere, and that these things are signs that the tomorrow election will be one of the most peaceful ever recorded in the history of this very state. The signs are already there. The signs are there. And just like we have always said, we have to make a big decision this time around by coming out, by turning up, and also working against different odds. Anambra State is the pride of Igbo nation. It is the pride of Igbo nation. It is one state that is dear to everything about an Igbo man. So it's important we do the work tomorrow for posterity and for our future and for our destiny. I'll leave it at that. I also want to say good morning to God Almighty for His mercies, who has been putting things in shape, making everything to happen according to His plan. Everything happens according to God's plan. And most times somebody has asked me this question. Sometimes we talk about rigging. Does it mean that God also allow it? And my answer has always been, in as much as God is against some of these practices, if He does not allow that person to get into that place, the person will not get into that place. QED. We have seen it many times in our history, and it had happened often. So the point remains that let's do our own work and leave God to do His own work. You're welcome.
All right, then let's go over to the front pages of the papers on our desk today and tell you what they say. We have the Vanguard, the Nation, the Guardian, and the Punch newspapers. And we start with Vanguard. Electricity operator pushes for gradual transition to cost-reflective tariffs. That's on page 19. Economy records strong growth. Edu on page 8. Mba Thubara Abiodu worry over deplorable state of police training colleges on page 7. Anambra Showdown 2025. Anxiety at Soludo. 2 women, 13 others test might. Tomorrow. The banner headline here, alleged to Christian genocide. US Congress targets Mieti Allah for visa bans, assets freezes. The riders, Nigeria not in panic mode, FG, says it has open discussion with US. We are going to defeat terrorism. Tinubu. US military draws up strike plans against Nigeria. Did you see pictures that emerged yesterday, Frank, of Donald Trump and a soldier looking at a map, and Nigerians had a field day? Some person said people should tell Trump he might be pointing at Enugu. He should go up. Zamfara is up on the chart or the map and stuff like that.
Well, let them enjoy the phrase, because for me, I won't be caught up in that. We know in this era, the time of propaganda, the time of people trying to conjure things just to, continue to push narrative. Somebody might have just gone to, get that very picture, put it out there, and people are already clean about it. So the thing is, Trump has said what he said. Nigerian government is doing and saying what they think they are doing and saying. So where we're headed is, let's see what gets to unfold before this month ends to know whether Trump was just being Trump or whether he meant what he said.
Oh well, keep our fingers crossed. The last the last rider, that headline rather, outlines heavy, medium, light attacks. That's on page 5, and there is a picture story there. Anambra election materials. We've been told most of them have been distributed. And of course, PDP crisis. Damagum tightens grip as state chairman disown rival leadership on page 9. False declaration of assets. Tackle backlog of cases. CJN tells tribunal on page 9. FEC approves 43 billion naira for Lagos Ibadan Highway East-West Road. Others on page 51. And on the sports column, UCL Oshime overtakes Haaland, Kane Mbappe as Europe's number 1 striker.
The guy, the hot paya. All right, so let's go to the Nation newspaper and see the headlines we have here. We have this for everyone. The banner headline, it begins with a kicker. It says, Tinubu, we will defeat terrorism, secure every part of the country. The writer says, Nigeria engaging constructively, diplomatically to address all genuine concerns. There is a quote there coming from the Minister of Information and National Orientation. He says, do we have problems? Yes. Are we challenged by terrorism? Yes. But we will defeat terrorism. We will overcome this CPC designation. We shall spare no effort until we eliminate all criminals. We want our friends to help us. End of the quote. The another headline says, tariffs, import restrictions, others for review. The writer says, new phase of economic reforms underway. This headline says, Forum of State Chairmen back the Magun PDP convention. The writer says, court to rule in Lamido's suit Tuesday. Then above the nameplates, we have one that says, fake rolls out approvals. The story is on page 2 of the Nation newspaper. Plenty of riders. First one says 43 billion naira for Lagos Ibadan Road Phase 2. Maitama 2 District, George's Residences. Another one, $396 million loans for Northern IDP's Sokoto Health Project. Concession of Port Harcourt International Airport. Presidential task force to drive dirty December. This one says Makinda approves 88 billion naira road project. The story is on page 6. Another says Nigeria targets 32% emission cut by 2035. The story is on page 4 of the Nation newspaper. Then down the page, COAS promises soldier first policy. The story is on page 4. Finance Minister leads G24. The story is on page 27 of the Nation newspaper.
All right, then let's go over to the next paper on our desk this morning. That will be The Guardian. And on The Guardian newspaper, old battles linger and amid new threats, fight for survival, truth. That's the big story on pages 4 and 5. Nigeria losing legitimacy over widespread killings, lack of accountability on page 30. 68% of electricity consumers bypassing prepaid meters That's from FG on page 2. Tinubu vows to defeat terrorism as US plans military options on page 6. Senate orders NAFDAC to outlaw sachet alcohol beverages by December 31 on page 30. Franklin, I saw something yesterday, just at DMG's roundabout. A mentally challenged person was smoking and drinking like piles of sachet alcohol, sachet alcoholic beverages. And I was asking myself, how do people still sell to her?
Do people actually care? I think that people are after their money.
Oh, Jesus.
As long as you bring your money to get whatever you want, whether it's fit for that very person, people do not care. Only a fraction of people that will see that kind of person and tell the person that they don't have what the person is asking for. Only a fraction of people. Now look at people who sell alcoholic drinks in different packs. Who are they meant for? Are they not meant for drivers who are going to drive people from one place to the other? And when these drivers come, they sell to them, and then they let Beteshman do it. Yeah? They do this thing because they know they're going to patronize them. But so nobody cares about what becomes the consequence of somebody who is to drive or somebody who is mentally unstable taking these things.
This is really sad. We're hoping that NAFDAC does something about that. Anxiety, tight security as Anambra elects new governor tomorrow on page 6. Report ranks Nigerian state's health emergency preparedness below 30%. That's on page 7. Yoruba Ronu urges Tinubu to address Nigerians on genocide US threat. On page 3. Damagum tightens grip as PDP state chairman, the zone rival leadership on page 3. FG bars sale of fan assets, approves airport concession, biometric upgrades. That story is on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper.
Now, that story that talked about 68% of electricity consumers bypassing prepaid meters, do you agree with these very statistics? Because for me, I think they are in line. And so many people who are using electricity, they bypass their meters. And when you ask them, they tell you that the tariff is way too exorbitant. You know, they will have plenty of stories to tell you all that they are getting too much bills on estimation. So they have to find another way for them to, recoup whatever they were extorted from. Now, it brings me to the question of, do we actually have Nigerians who genuinely want to pay for any service that they get? Do we have that, or we always think that this thing should be cheaper than it is because we are Nigerians? Now let's go over to the Punch newspaper to see the headlines. The banner headline here says Trump's threat: Tinubu rallies foreign allies as North rejects Sharia ban. The story is on page 2 of Punch newspaper. It has a rider: FG vows to crush terror networks. NEF, ACF reject US move to outlaw Sharia. Then, beside the nameplate, a headline there says APC Wike blast PDP over US embassy protest. Check page 7 or Punch newspaper for that very headline. FGOK's biometric flight boarding PH airport concession. The story is on page 27. It's one of the outcomes of the FEC meeting that was held yesterday. FG rolls out new plans to tackle food shortage. What are those plans? You can see that on page 11 of Punch newspaper. Abuja Disco sacks 800 workers amid power crisis. The story is on page 24. I hope NLC will come to their aid, or are they going to fold their hands this time around because it's not related to oil and gas? Then another headline here says Anambra Poll INEC distributes sensitive materials. 55,000 policemen mobilized. Yes, the police give an update saying that they got additional mobilization. So from 45 we now have 55,000 policemen, so additional 10,000 for them to ensure that the election goes on free and fair and under peaceful atmosphere. In fact, yesterday Noka was a bit of activity. Anybody who came close to the CBN office in Noka would notice what was going on there, because that was the deal for the distribution of the sensitive and non-sensitive materials to local government areas where they are going to be housed in the racks for onward movement to the polling unit on the election day. Then another headline says vehicle imports slide 10% on weak consumer spending. The story is on page 23. A vehicle that was selling for 4 million before, and the price is now like 10 million. So of course, many people might not be able to afford it. So that's why we are seeing this drop in spending on vehicle importation. Pretty might get 50 million naira bill for alleged drug offense. The story is on page 4 and 5. Some I don't know whether you have been following this very story. You know, people never knew that Pretty Mike is from Anambra State, from Nnobi here. That's where the guy comes from. And I think he was in Anambra last month for the burial of his father, and then got back to Lagos and got involved in this a drug party, which NDA was able to infiltrate and got him arrested.
A lot of things happen around the celebrity circle, and I just say the NDLEA, are they late to the party? Or maybe who did Pretty Mike offend? Konya Suliaimi.
You get it?
Because NDLEA won't tell me that this has been ongoing for a very long time. Among these celebrities, some of them even go as far as putting out pictures on social media of them rolling and all of that. So Kedoya is Pretty Mike, he should be looking for that.
All right. So the last headline we have this morning on the front page of Punch newspaper says newly inaugurated Tinubu campaign office demolished in Benue. The story is on page 410.
All right, we are starting the conversation proper, and of course, and so we are starting from Anambra again. We're not going to get tired of talking about how ready we are for this election tomorrow. Until after the election, of course. And after the election, we go into examining what the election was like. We expect litigations, possibly. We're going to be expecting reports and counter reports. But until that phase, let us look at what INEC has done differently this time around, Tony, to impress the people. What INEC has done differently this time to boost the confidence of the people in the election. As of yesterday, from the reports we have, INEC has said everything that needs to be done has been done. Materials have been checked out of the central bank. They have been distributed to the various local governments, from where they will be distributed to the different wards and all of that. But the big question at this point is the people need to know explicitly what these moves are towards making sure that this election is different.
Yesterday, there was an inspection of the material, the sensitive materials. It was displayed at the CBN and the INEC headquarters in Oka. So why that was going on, the idea is to tell everybody, the press, the monitors, the observers, civil society organizations, and everyone around, that these materials are intact, untampered, and at the same time unbroken in every form. So distribution, if it was from there the distribution started, so it has been the culture. So it's not something new, nothing different from the way it used to be. Having said that, we also notice that the number of policemen deployed for this election increased. I think that's the only thing different from the previous ones. The previous ones we've had situation where we had 40,000 men, but now we are being told that it's about 50,000 or thereabouts.
The police is giving us 45,000 this time.
That's what I'm saying. That's much compared to what it used to be. But
that's only police, so we have all that.
That's what I'm saying. It is too much.
Okay.
It is too much. We just have 21 local governments. We have 326 wards, and the work of police will be majorly on the highways, on the roads. That's where their works, and making sure that no illegal movement. Every movement must be defined with the purpose and the intent. So, but we have been talking about situations whereby we don't need to militarize our election for whatever reason. I'm aware that 65 members of the European Union, they are in Anambra State already. So international observers are here. And I'm also aware, I don't know if Amupetan has gone back or he's still around. He's back to Abuja. He has gone to Abuja.
Yes.
So, because he's not the returning officer. The point remains that what about our bushes? We have bushes. So who is taking charge of that? Would police also take charge of the bushes? Because I have also said that most times they don't like going into that type of areas. But the quasi security operatives could be deployed in the bushes. Let them man the bushes. But I'm not saying that, but just like I said earlier on, I have not seen anything new. The only thing I observe is the increase in the number of policemen deployed for Anambra State election. So all the things that have gone is just normal routine. But I have the belief that the election will be peaceful because the signs are there already. The signs are there. And if you look at the contestants, they have been able to comport themselves properly. Nobody is making a rhetoric. As throughout today, you won't hear anything about campaign. Campaign has stopped last night, midnight. That's when campaigns stopped. So it's all about dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's. So it's going to be something different. And we are calling on the people, please come out. And I've been told that even if you don't have your voter card, you can still come out. Because there will be a board where eligible voters
register
will be posted. So if you can go there and identify your name, get the number and come back to those areas.
Very important development.
They will just look at the register. Once they are able to find their name, you will now be subjected to accreditation, facial and thumbprint. Once it's carried through, you vote.
Amazing.
So it's important so that you wouldn't say, I don't know where I kept my voter's card.
I'd like you to reiterate that to me.
I don't know where my voter's card is. Without voter's card, please come out. The names will be pasted. Just go there and search for your name, because you don't bother or burden the officials to do that for you. Because the officials, their own is, once you present your voter's card, they use your voter's card to search for the name. But since you don't have the voter's card, go and search it yourself, because it will be pasted. From there, you just get the number and tell them your number. They will use it to look at or look for your name and then possibly get you accredited. So for those that may have displaced their voters cards, they don't know where their voters cards are, so please know that you can still vote. You can still vote.
Why are they giving us this information this late? I mean, it's less than 24 hours to the election, because we were told that election starts by 8:30 tomorrow, and electoral materials are going to be out to the different polling units by 7 o'clock. By the way, Udala Radio 104.7 FM is going to be out on the field, keeping tabs of developments, and we're going to be giving you real-time updates on how things are going tomorrow, real time. And of course, we'll see if INEC eventually has things set up by 7 a.m. as they promised. But also, I'd like to know why this information is coming out this late. Has it always been out there in the public? And have the people been told about this before now?
I think, remember, INEC did not do voter education as expected. It's one thing that I also observe in this election. Before now, through the NUA, National Orientation Agency, they go around to sensitize the people, to educate the people.
We got text messages. What happened to stuff like that?
I don't know. Probably, I don't know whether it's funding, or I can't really say or speak for them. It is left for them to come and clarify. So we don't have that level of voter education. But just as we know very well, in the past, they were able to communicate this to political parties. So it's expected that political parties will trickle it down to their members and probably the media. And also, they must work with media. INEC should find a way to work with media, because they are partners in this process. Whatever you are doing, the media should be aware. Once the media is aware, the public is aware. So they must work as partners. The idea is we want to break the genes of not recording up to 30% of voter turnout in the history. Can we break that genes? It's doable. We have come to realize that the only option for one to stake anything in the governance of Anambra State will be by participating in the election process. You must participate. That's the only way to stake anything. I like the fact that when people talk, they will say, we voted for this man, but he has not been able to do this. So, and it becomes clear. What about someone that comes out and say, thank God I did not vote for him, so I'm not interested? Look at these two statements. See, this is our collective destiny. And I've always told everyone that the money with which a state governor works does not belong to him. It's our money, not his money. So we reserve the right to ask questions and also to demand accountability on how he uses our money.
So if INEC failed,
Yeah.
forgive me, Franklin,
Okay,
if INEC failed in voter education, like we have pointedly seen, how about political parties? Do you think that they did their bit in educating the people?
I think they did educate their members. Because
It is sure, I can never be corner.
No.
I barely saw any political party coming, or only few of them coming out to say this is what you're expected to do at the poll. I mean, it was just yesterday we were telling the people that when you get to the poll, do not use your thumb because you might just end up making your vote invalid if your thumbprint crosses into the box that belongs to more than one party. Say you want to vote for a party and then you put your thumbprint has ink on 3 lines. It means that you're voting 3 parties. It means that your vote is invalid. How many political parties have given sensitizations like that? We saw videos of their rallies. Did they talk about stuff like that? You are just telling us that people can now go to the polling units without physical cards. Just go to the voter register. The last time we were at the on the fields, we saw the voter registers, right?
They'll be
Go to the
pasted.
board, find your your name, probably your card number, and then report back to the polling officers, and then they take it up from there, and then you can vote. Did these political parties do that? We didn't see them telling the people stuff like that during their campaigns.
these things are not meant to be said during campaigns.
So when should they be said?
They may have communicated this during their meetings. They had meetings. Most political parties had meetings yesterday. Many of them, I'm talking about the front, runners. They had meetings yesterday, and then for those who observed the meetings, some of these things were communicated. But you may say that it came late. It came late. So the point remains that they are aware. Sometimes things said during campaigns, there are things that are not said. Because anything you say during the rallies, the public may pick anything from that. But the ones you say during your meetings. And another thing is, many of them, through the security agencies, were able to communicate that they should not, for any reason, do any transaction around the polling booth area. Around the where the election is going on.
Are transactions supposed to be done on election
No,
day?
because they were giving strong warning that if there is any such thing, that the person will be picked, the person will be arrested immediately. So it was a kind of serving them the warning that any form of transaction is not accepted, is prohibited around that area. But the truth remains that we've seen this in the past, but haven't served such warning. At a point we see laxity, and these people go back to go and do those things they were told not to do. Another thing is the sensitive materials. I had thought that INEC were able to tell us if these sensitive materials have different features that will make it impregnable, in a way that it cannot be tampered with. We've seen situations whereby anybody who may have reserved any result sheet and wants to swap it, the result sheet should be more like a currency. It must have internal fixtures, so that even if those who are trying to write result for whatever reasons, they may go and use design of the old result sheet. So I don't know if INEC were able to tell us that the result sheet of the last election or the recent elections, if they are different from the result sheet of this present election, because that's the most important of the all materials.
Okay, can I say something? Because I think that's where the issue about the failings we have seen from all the stakeholders who are supposed to be the ones doing the voter education. One is that INEC and NMBC has not communicated as supposed to communicate. In fact, I attended not less than 3 events where INEC was invited and nobody showed up. Now, the only 2 agencies I must say that they were consistent in all the engagement I attended were the police and the NSCDC. Each time you come around, you will see them, and somebody is already there to communicate what they are doing. But for INEC hardly communicated during this very period. This issue of whether we have these very internal features, I believe that they are there, but because INEC has not been communicating, that's why this thing has not come to fore. Even the issue of whether people who don't have the PVCs will be able to vote. It hasn't come to fore because INEC has not been communicating. Now, I tell you that I belong to a WhatsApp group that has INEC officials. But guess what? Nothing is posted there. As of this very morning when we speak, nothing is posted there. Okay, let me even give you what happened to me, because on Monday I went to Oka to pick up our tag. I didn't get it. I went on Tuesday, I didn't get it because by the time I got to Oka, they said they had left. Then on Wednesday morning, I had to go there by 9:30. By 9:30, nobody was there because they said collection would be between 9 and the 4 p.m. By 9:30, nobody was there. I called INEC PRO and she told me that that they will be coming very soon. They came about 10 minutes past 10 a.m. and about 4 persons were there waiting for them. Now, where am I heading to? NOA has also failed in doing what it's supposed to do because NOA should be the one educating people on how to vote. The things they're supposed to do at the polling unit, things they are bad from doing at the polling unit, how to vote and how not to vote. But this is not coming from them because maybe people who are driving that will always tell you that they don't have funds to be able to do this. Now, having said that, now let's now come back to the issue of security that we mentioned because as we stand now, yesterday, the Commissioner of Police who is overseeing this election, Abayomi Shogunle, he said that they now have forces increased from 45 to 55 personnel. And from what he said yesterday, that the people who are going to ensure election security, they are drawn from the police, from the Immigration Service, NDLEA, DSS, and other agencies like the likes of Federal Safety. I saw many of them around Okuzu this very morning trying to manage traffic. And let me even say this too, I don't know what happened, but the army checkpoints at Okuzu Junction, it wasn't there this very morning, so I don't know what happened, whether it was done on purpose or somebody forced them to do that. Now, the issue of having 55,000 policemen or having about 60,000 security operatives in total, I don't think it should scare us. Police say that they are now going to have 3 personnel attached to each polling unit other than 2 that it used to be. Now, we should not look at the number as if the number is unprecedented. If we are having 60 security operatives deployed for this election in Anambra State, it is not unprecedented in the history of Nigerian politics or election. I'll give you an instance. If you look at the election that was held in Edo State in 2024, more than 115,000 personnel, police, army, and what were deployed. 115,000 in Edo State in 2024. Osun State in 2014, 73,000 persons were deployed, police and others. So it's not unprecedented. What we should be concerned about is let them not get involved in what is not stipulated in their code of conduct. If these policemen and other security personnel, if they do what they're supposed to do, they are professional, do the job they are called to do. Of course, I don't think we will have any concern or have any issues about the number. But where we normally have the concern is where you now see some of them who leave what they are asked to do and begin to do other things. But we are hoping that with the way things are being managed, we have a police commissioner who is in charge of the election. Then there's a supervising police officer. One, I'm forgetting, I think DIG Okoro.
Yes. Benjamin Okoro is the one supervising.
So we're hoping that they will be able to manage people who are under them to ensure that they are very professional and do what they're supposed to do for this election's sake.
All right, I think we have just observed all these things, just like you mentioned. So, what is now left? The people, they must play their own role. They must play their own role. We encourage and also employ everyone to conduct themselves peacefully. I know Anambra people, they have been doing that. They have been peaceful. Most elections, just like I've said earlier on, the number of police, for me, is too much because I know elections in Anambra State is not a case of do or die. Anambra election is not a do or die affair. Even when we thought last governorship election, 2021, nobody died, not even a single person on record. Even when insecurity was so tense, but nobody, not even a single person died. That was last election. So the one we are going to have tomorrow will be a consolidation of that very fact that Anambra people, they don't see election or do or die. And immediately after the last election, nobody went to court apart from Anduba that went to court to challenge it. Only for Supreme Court to even tell him that he was never even a candidate. So outside that, everybody accepted the outcome. So the point remains that all is set. And I'm seeing a peaceful election tomorrow. Peaceful conduct. People will come out freely. Nobody will harass you. Nobody, that's the information, the message given to the police, the radio message given to them. no harassment, no intimidation. There are some lines, probably by the time we convene tomorrow, there are some lines people can also call for anything they notice. If you notice any form of rigging, there are lines you will be that you'll be asked to call for tomorrow for urgent and immediate response. The idea is for us to own this process. We must own this process. We must. It is our thing. I don't see it as these people you have seen that have been deployed. They are here to assist the police, the army, and all manner of people that have been deployed to this. They are here to assist. We are the one we must take ownership. It is our thing. See it as a personal thing. And that's the way I'm seeing it, and that's why I want everybody to see it's our personal thing. So have it in mind. The police officers, the men, they have been warned seriously, sternly. No intimidation, no harassment, and at the same time, they must show professionalism.
All right.
The European unions, they want everybody's here.
Everyone is watching.
They must show professionalism.
And let me add, for what I have explained in Anambra State since so let me say since 2014 that I began to cover election. I don't think that there's any election we have had in Anambra State where the result was said to be the opposite of what people voted. I don't think there's any.
There's never been any.
I think that the problem at this point is not about the result. There was something the present governor said the other day or during an interview. He said, it is one thing for us to have 100 votes and a party takes home 95. And then in the register you have 500 voters. It means that 400 people did not come out to vote. They only have voter cards as valid means of identification. It's only meant to be used in the bank. So what we are looking for, what we are urging Anambrarians to do at this point is, can we please break the jinx of voter apathy? Can we at least get to 40% at the polls? I mean, the last election we did only about 21%. I mean, the election in Anambra State, and then when it got to that of the federal government, I think the entire Southeast only did about 20%. And Anambra did about 10.7 thereabout. The point is, we cannot keep declaring Offensala Day on election day.
No, that one, we
cannot keep going to play football on election day.
We have gone beyond that one.
Where you wake up as a parent, tell your adult children who have already gotten themselves registered as eligible voters to go to the ward, go to the polling units and vote. Even if they do not have cards now, they can't just go there, find their names, pick up the numbers, and go get themselves accredited and vote.
And that's more reason we've said over time. There will be a time, but one thing we are working is to make sure that the process is transparent. There is trust. Once trust is brought back, there will be a time before you get admission. If you're up to 18 years, you must show where you voted or how you voted or sign that you voted in the last election. There are some things you would want to do. You'll be asked if you voted in the last election.
Is that international best practice?
No, there are countries that practice it, but before you talk about that one, you must have restored confidence and trust in the system.
Okay, we take a break.
Let me also add, let me just add quickly, because while we're talking about this issue of low turnout of voters during election, I think there are some things we need to do so that we'll be able to have a accurate figure. One is this: on the election day, virtually 90% of journalists who are going to cover election, they don't know vote.
I've never voted thanks to this reason.
They do no vote, and already that is a minus. Take for instance, in this group election now, we have 540 journalists accredited who are going to monitor the election. There are some who were not accredited. They are still going to monitor. So let's say that 400 out of them are not going to vote. So you are taking 400 out of 2.8 million. Then so policemen who are going to be on election duty, who have voter card are registered, they won't vote, right? Then those who are on essential duties, who are going to work on that very day, observers, they might not vote. Then the ad hoc staff might not vote. So by the time you take out this very number, you might see that we might be left with 1.something million people who are eligible to vote. So in that very case, you see that there are many things impacting the numbers of when it comes to voter turnout during the election. So we should think of that issue of advanced voting, where people who will be on essential duties on election day, they should be able to have their time and vote, so that we stop disenfranchising them.
All right, now we take a break at this point, attend to some commercials. When we come back, we take a look at what is happening with Nigeria versus America, talking about security and, of course, America's decision to step in if the Nigerian government doesn't step up. Keep it locked.
Udala Radio, 104.7 FM.
Seriously authentic.
is one real estate called Higher Ground. Higher Ground Estate Limited is a real estate company with a difference, working together as a community and growing together like one family. We have land in all the eastern states of Nigeria, Ala Igbo, Okasi Delta State, Eboto Rute. Higher Ground Estate Limited ne fee sa nanya ime acquire properties. And in Nigeria Jeru ne semeni. We have two titles when you come to documentation. 1. Registered survey plan. 2. Deed of conveyance. Higher Ground is a good place to invest, for we have a high level of return on investment, ROI. We also do land banking and estate management. Our head office is located at number 59 Orifite Street, Awada Obosi, and number 5 Frank Omare Street, opposite High Court, GRA, Asaba Delta State. You can call us on 0806 373 4641. Higher Ground Estate Limited, going higher every day.
Ụwa ihe oke o mana dịka nwa afọ Naija nwoke maọbụ nwaanyị ebe ugbu a ị kwesịrị ime onye na-akpọ gị n'ekwentị. Ohere na-abịa so naanị otu ugboro, mana nke bụ ezigbo ajụjụ dị na ya bụ ị ga-adịkwa na njikere. Ekwekwala ka ohere ọzọ ganarị. Lee anya otu kọlụ ziri ezi nwere ike ịgbanwe ndụ gị. Tinye Truecaller app n'ekwentị gị tata, mara onye na-akpọ gị, hụ na ịtụfughị ohere ịnweta otu kọlụ ahụ nwere ike ịgbanwe ihe niile. Truecaller, za ezigbo oku.
The countdown is over. Anambra Decides 2025 is here. And the future of our state is about to be written by you, the voter. This Saturday, November 8th from 7 a.m., Udala Radio 104.7 FM goes live across Anambra, bringing you every heartbeat, every update, and every voice that matters on election day. Join our anchors, Franklin Ibuka and Dr. Tony Olisambeki, as they lead the state's most trusted coverage with live field reports, expert analysis, citizen reactions, and real-time results from polling units and collation centers. From Onitsha to Oka, Nnewi to Ihiala, Obosi to Obaru, will keep you informed, inspired, and empowered to make your vote count. Because your voice is your power, and your choice shapes the future of Anambra. Stay with the voice of the region. Stay with Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Anambra Decides 2025. Live, authentic, and unbiased. Saturday, November 8th from 7 a.m. Your vote, your voice, your future. Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic. You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Studio Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Many thanks for keeping it locked. Now we're going over to some more national issues. Yesterday, President Bola Tinubu said his government was engaging with the world diplomatically following the remarks by U.S. President Donald Trump, who threatened military action against terror groups in Nigeria over the alleged mass killing of Christians. This was a coalition of Northern elders, or this was also as a coalition of Northern elders rejected calls by some U.S. right-wing lawmakers to ban Sharia law in Nigeria. The president also stated that the country is on a steady growth trajectory and promised more stability and prosperity as economic reforms continue to yield results and gain national and international acceptance. But of course, before we go into other things that we have said yesterday in terms of economy and of course the confirmations that happened yesterday at the FEC meeting, let's look at what the president said concerning the whole idea of Nigeria being designated a country of great concern and of course the diplomatic angles towards handling the threat from U.S. president. And also again looking at the fact that a coalition of Northern elders have rejected calls for the ban of Sharia law in Nigeria. I've been asking myself since this entire saga started, where it is done that inside a sovereign nation that has a constitution, frankly, there is a law that is based on a religious belief. While I cannot seem to understand, or I am not able to ascertain if this is applicable in some other parts of the world, I am just curious to find out the rationality behind the existence of the Sharia law alongside our constitution.
Okay, let's start from the foundation, because since Trump talked about this planned military action in Nigeria, of course, everybody has been running helter-skelter. The federal government and some other Nigerians, in fact, some person became circumstantial nationalists and patriots. But all the same, it's all good. But for me, I think that where we should concentrate our attention is, one, look at the veracity of the claim which was made by Donald Trump. The issue of Christian genocide. First of all, let's determine, is there actually a Christian genocide in Nigeria? If there is, we establish that. If there is none, we establish that. Then when we must have done this very establishment, then we now move to the next stage, which is how do we now get to engage and ensure that we get to term this? Because why Trump acted the way he did, or why some persons caught the fancy, or why some persons caught the fancy of Trump, is because of the fact that over the years we have seen government inaction when it comes to dealing with the issue of banditry and terrorism. People have been killed here and there, and we have not seen any government action, with a will to tame this. That's why we have seen so many Nigerians who are sharing sentiment with what Trump is trying to do. Now, the other side of it now is how does the government of Nigeria go about this very thing? Government said is engaging diplomatically and doing that. So, what is the content of that very engagement? Are you engaging with Trump for him to, avert whatever plan he has, or for him to see reasons why he is working on a wrong information, or for you to sit down and talk about collaboration, how US can come in to assist us in dealing with banditry and then terrorism we have in Nigeria? So what actually are they talking about when it comes to finding a solution to this? And I must say that it's quite unfortunate that it took US president to wake us to our reality once more. Not that Nigerians do not know that this is our reality, but it's quite unfortunate that leaders we have had over the years, they've been paying lip service to issue of insecurity. Now, for the question about Sharia law, whether there's any part of the world where we have seen that, if you check our 1999 constitution, of course, you will see traces where there is a recognition for Sharia courts. So that is the foundation upon which some northern states decided to create Sharia law, whereby if you are in state like Zamfara State and Co., you are bound by this. No, whether you are a Muslim or not, as long as you reside in that very state, you are bound by that very law. And so that's why each time people talk about Ahmed Yerima, the first thing that comes to your mind is this Sharia thing, because he was the first person that engineered it. And since then, we know how some persons were decapitated the moment it was launched. But it appeared like in recent times that it has not been as profound as it used to be. But the point is that we have seen persons who have fallen short of it. I'll give you an instance. In 2011-12, when I went to the north, the first orientation I was given to is about Sharia law, that you should be mindful, because the law is so brutal that once you offend in one way, there is no reprieve. If the penalty is death, you will surely go in for it. So if you look at that, because the concern of the US is coming twofold. Apart from what Trump said, that he's going to launch military offensive, but if you look at the details of that very bill, which was sponsored by a US senator, there's one part that talks about meting out sanctions to all those politicians and Nigerian leaders who have in one way or the other sponsored Sharia law and blasphemy laws, upon which some persons have been killed. And that's why Riley replied Musa Kwankwaso the way he did the moment he made a call saying that the US should pay more attention to collaboration than trying to launch military offensive in Nigeria. So in the whole of this whole thing, I just think that Nigerian government should be able to learn its lessons. How? One, do good introspection and make a decision that we have to take the bulls by the horn. Then what I think that is going to work for us is to seek for collaboration between Nigeria and the US on how they can work together. If it's in the area of sharing intelligence or in any capacity they can help. But what I'm not too comfortable with, if Trump would just on his own launch offensive into Nigeria, I don't think that is going to augur well when it comes to the Community of Nations, because I don't know of any country that that has invaded America because of killings against Christians. If you look at the history from 1999 till date, we have had not less than 9 cases of attacks targeted at churches in US.
I guess,
I haven't had any country going to invade America because of that. So for us, I just think that this serves as a wake-up call to the government of Nigeria, whereby we do what we're supposed to do, and not wait until foreigners begin to wake up to our realities.
I think I heard when you asked questions about Sharia.
Yeah, existing side by side with our constitution, and even our constitution recognizing it.
I also listened to Adamu Garuba. I'll come back to the issue of Sharia. I listened to Adamu Garuba, one-time APC presidential aspirant, and then he agreed with Trump that there is indeed a genocide or a genocidal war in Nigeria. And many people have asked the fate of Leah Sharibu and the fate of the Chibok girls. I think he mentioned those things, saying that was it not on religious ground that these people were kidnapped? Wouldn't you describe that very setting as a kind of persecution of Christians? And we are told that some of them that we are Christians, we are married off. Yes, if you remember the story about Chibok girls, and also remember the story about Dapshi girls, and remember the story of Leo Charibu, remember the story of the young lady
Ruth, the one that was stoned to death.
These are things, these are religious persecutions. The question is, what has the government done in some of these cases? We are told that in one, that those that we arrested were later released. And for the fact that a young girl made a posting in their class WhatsApp group, before you know it, she came to school, she was stoned for blasphemy. The constitution is against torture, but Sharia law provides for what? Stoning. It's a big conflict, if you ask me. A very big conflict. And I'm aware most times, if you look at in entire Africa, look at the countries that practice Sharia law. Sudan is known as an Islamic country. Mauritania, known as an Islamic country. Somalia, known as Islamic country. Libya, purely Islamic country. Egypt, purely Islamic country. Morocco, purely Islamic country. Algeria, the same. Tunisia, you can also talk about Chad, Niger, Senegal. These are purely Islamic countries. Now, Nigeria that has a balanced religion, why do we have such? Ghana, there's no Sharia law there, but they have sizable number of people that are Muslims. So my concern is, if you go by the provision of the constitution provides for customary courts, and customary courts and the Sharia courts, one is religion, the other one is custom. So these are things we must balance. I have thought about this, and I think maybe it could be the right time to state about some of these things. If you go by provisions of section 275 subsection 1, it says there shall be for any state that requires it a Sharia court of appeal. And then even before that Sharia court of appeal, it talks about their jurisdiction. And if you go by provisions of section 260 subsection 1 and section 262 subsection 1, it says that their jurisdiction should be on the issues of marriage, inheritance, family relations, and endowment. But the issue is not where the constitution has placed their jurisdiction. The issue is that being a religious court, it is not supposed to be mentioned in the constitution because it wears religious toga.
Even if it is not allowed to be mentioned, even if it is not mentioned, but it is there in practice, It is still a problem.
No. The thing is, Constitution has made itself saying that no state shall adopt a religious state under Section 10. And now, if you think under customary rules, there are those that Sharia is their custom. For our brothers in the north, their way of life, because they have submitted themselves to their religious practices, so it becomes their custom. In fact, I'm thinking, because if you look at customary court, there's nothing like canonical courts. Any canon court is also religious. That's for Christians. Christians have religious laws. That is why they are called canon laws. But it's not mentioned.
But they are not enshrined in the Constitution.
Yes.
And when you speak about canon laws, they are not binding on every Christian. As a matter of fact, the canon law, last I checked, is only binding on Catholics.
No, canon laws are binding on majority of Christians, but Catholics project it more. You know, I remember, in fact, if you check the word canon, what it means has to do with canonical, religiously.
I haven't heard Protestants, for instance, speak about being bound by canon law.
Because for them, they practice a liberal Christianity.
So at the end of the day, we cannot categorically say that Christians in Nigeria are bound by any law.
That's what I'm saying. But the point remains that the way you practice religion could be different from the way other person practices his or her religion. So people that have, because for me, I have always maintained one thing: where a law provides or prescribes punishment such as amputation for theft, if you steal, the Sharia law prescribes amputation, your hand will be cut off. It's called hudud. Stoning to death for adultery, the one called zina. And at the same time, flogging for alcohol consumption or fornication. If you're convicted of drinking alcohol or consuming alcohol, or convicted of fornicating or fornication as the case may be, you will be flogged depending on the lashes prescribed. And if you go by section 34 subsection 1A of the Constitution, which guarantees the right to dignity of the human person and prohibits torture or inhumane or degrading treatment, that's the Constitution I'm reading, our own Constitution. And if you look at the punishment prescribed by the Sharia law, they are degrading and inhumane under international human rights norms and Nigeria's own constitutional order. But it's allowed. See, you can be saying one thing on this side of the mouth and you are doing another thing with the other side of the mouth, the same mouth. I'm thinking, issues of custom should be not even in the Constitution. States should take over those things, but the states, while taking over those things, they must make sure that it does not in any way go against the provisions of the Constitution. Because if you look at most Sharia punishments, they are entirely against Section 34 of the 1999 Constitution. And you made a statement, because if you go over there in the north, they will tell you that Sharia law applies only to a practicing Muslim, not everybody, not residents. But they have been mixed up. That's what we've been told, and that is the way it ought to be, that it should be for those who are practicing that religion. But we have seen cases whereby it's not only for those who are practicing the religion. It has become something that even for those who are resident in that area. I've said many times, many people cannot even go to Kano or some places, even in Kaduna, to even drink alcohol openly. These things are not even sold there, because they believe that by selling those things, those people will be guilty of it. That people who are practicing a particular religion, they are being advised not to consume alcohol. That punishment in that law is against our Constitution. But situation where advised not to even consume alcohol, it becomes important that those who say those things are not even allowed to stay in that very state. Right. Is that not a kind of persecution? But the point I have made is very simple. We can revisit some of these things in our laws. I have listened to some northern brothers saying that Trump, no, we cannot do anything. They reject Trump call by saying that they must uphold Sharia law and all its provisions.
So do you see that being done? Do you see the Sharia law being kicked out?
No, the thing is,
who's going to do that?
It is something we must initiate a conversation on. It is not something you will just give as an express order because of the consequence it may generate, but it is something we can begin in a way of conversation during constitutional amendment.
So is anyone willing to bail the cat yet?
Why not? After all, it was one CBN governor, I don't want to call his name, that removed Arabic marks from our money. What are these Arabic marks doing there? Are we from Arab? It was one CBN governor, I won't call his name, that took the courage to remove it from, I think, 15 naira, 10 naira, and some other smaller denominations. We thought that the other person that would succeed him, who later became Eme, would have done same. What is Arabic marks doing on our national currency? It's not a slap on our face. They have no business there. These are some of the things that have been a concern, and I believe that if we really want to uphold a secular state indeed, because that's what the Constitution says, Section 10, that the country shall not adopt any religion, that Nigeria is a secular state, why do we have a religious mark on our money? Why do we have a religious law in our Constitution? These things do not speak well.
Right.
So that is one. And then on the side of the Trump threat and all of that, the truth is, I don't want to, because there are people who have described what happened in Plateau State and the Benue State as genocidal war, pure extermination of a particular people based on tribe, based on religion. Would you fault those people if they continue with such narration? Number of people we are buried, and it's not something new. Even during the time of autumn, it's happened many times. I remember when autumn formed the security vigilante, and it was a targeted attack. It had happened in Plateau over time. So wouldn't you say that it is a genocide? So people that have said there is no genocidal war, there is no this in Nigeria, then what do you call what is going on in Plateau State and what is going on in Benue State? But that's by the way. But I have said we can fix our home if we really want to. We don't need Trump to come and fix it for us.
Political will.
We don't need Trump to come and fix anything for us. And there are people, you said, how many people have invaded America for whatever religious killings we've seen there? But we've seen responses from the state actors, either the government of a state or the presidency of the United States of America, the way they go after those people. And remember, America was under attack. That was November. I think September what? 11. That is 9/11. They were invaded. But this time around, they were invaded not because of what you may think, but because of their policies. America was under attack. America was invaded by terrorists, sponsored by a government, Afghan government, which was actually established. So it was a state-sponsored invasion by Osama bin Laden, Al Qaeda, sponsored by Afghanistan government. So you wouldn't say America has not. How many times have America been invaded because of this? They have been invaded.
That's based on the fact that there was an attack.
No, that's what we call it.
Because the issue of whether America has been invaded or not is I was talking about if there had been things against blacks or things against the Christians, and then one powerful country now said, okay, because this is going on, let's go in there. Yeah. But the issue of Afghanistan is that Afghanistan felt that the policies of American government were affecting it badly.
Yes.
And they were targeting them.
And apart from that,
and they decided to strike.
And apart from that, even there are two types of Muslims, Sunni Muslim and then the Shiites. The Shiites were not feeling good about it. Remember, during the Lockerbie bombing, the one that happened around 1987 or thereabouts, America was a target through a Libyan-sponsored invasion. That was why they descended on Libya. And at the end of the day, from every investigation and reports, Libya was involved. Libya sponsored it under Muammar Gaddafi. You remember that Lockerbie bombing?
Because what we're trying to establish here, because what I'm trying to establish is this: that if you check other places where America had invaded there's a reason. And that reason is connected to the fact that America had been targeted by those countries in one way or the other.
Yeah. And apart from that,
so the difference between those ones and the Nigeria is that we haven't had recently that American government was in any way targeted. We're not saying that America does not have the right to express how they feel. Yeah. They have the right, but the concern of some people is let's sit down and talk about these things, how we are going to come in, so that it will be on terms of cooperation other than on invasion.
I agree with you. That's the way it should be. But at the same time, America has no right to invade any country, but they have been violating every right. I've thought about UN conventions. In fact, most of the things Adamu Garuba said, these things were not correct. That a responsibility to protect, that is where he said that US has the responsibility to protect, especially where there is war crime, genocide, and all manner of things. That is not true. US has no power or right by any UN convention to protect. It's the Security Council. And on area of terror, the Security Council says there will be cooperation and alliances, especially where the country that is involved. But if it is on area of war crime, genocide, crime against humanity, in that area, the UN Security Council will activate responsibility to protect. They must take a resolution, and that resolution will be binding on its engagement with the country involved, not a US thing. It's a UN. There is difference between United States and United Nations. So when Adamu Garuba was saying that US has the right or the responsibility by UN convention, the responsibility to protect based on genocide, that is wrong. He's wrong. So we must clarify these things. So where he's correct, we may say yes, he's correct. Where he's wrong, we may say yes, he's wrong. And remember, I said US invaded Vietnam, and I said, why did they invade? Not that Vietnam was doing anything against them, because they don't want communism to spread, and they felt that Vietnam had become a country that aids in spreading communism, which they have also fought over their lives. That's why they did everything to make sure that Soviet Union disintegrate, and they achieved that, which also led to Cold War. But the point remains that US goes after its own interest in its own way, without minding the international law or conventions.
So what's the interest of the United States in Nigeria as it stands?
Definitely, the interest of the United States of Nigeria as it stands comes from the fact that they are suspecting Nigeria to be aligning with those they have branded enemies.
Example?
They have BRICS, for instance. BRICS. And BRICS was actually set up to oppose US policies.
Isn't it weird that a nation has its own alliances but then fights another nation for having its own alliances?
Why is Russia fighting Ukraine?
We are saying the same thing. Isn't it weird that the world powers do this? I mean, it's like a power show off.
Let me tell you something. This thing did not start today. In the year 1845, Governor, President James of United States of America introduced expansionism theorem that US was destined to expand beyond the present. That's why they invaded Mexico. In fact, Mexico did not understand what was going on. Before you know it, there was an American-Mexican war. That's how they got states like Texas, California, New Mexico, and then you talk about Nevada. There's so many of these states they got. As a result of that, they divided half of Mexico, took almost half. If not, you see, I remember even Philippines, how they conquered Philippines, colonized Philippines, and I know how the Philippines, revolted. Puerto Rico, they are holding Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is not even a sovereign nation as we speak. So we can go on and talk about this word politics. It's not about what they believe. The word is if only get Tibuye and Alian Koji. That is the message. Forget all these things.
2025.
Forget all these things they come and talk about during the Security Council meeting. You saw the president of Israel when he was speaking. Many representatives of the countries walked away. I don't know if Nigeria was one of those that walked away when Netanyahu was addressing UN General Assembly. We saw representatives of the different countries walking away because they don't want to listen to whatever he's saying, but he's invited. So the international politics, forget all these things. The politics is if only get Tibu and Koji.
Yeah, speaking about
that's
meetings,
just what they do
yesterday, President Bola Tinubu presided over a Federal Executive Council meeting. By the way, the last time he did that himself was in July. And yesterday we had two ministers confirmed, speaking about Bernard Doro and Kingsley Ude, to replace our brother who resigned over issues of fake certification. now being replaced. That's Uche Naji, now being replaced by Kingsley Ude. And now we also have Bernard Borough, who now replaces the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, and Tawe Yilwatda, who has become APC's national chairman. Looking at the portfolio of these two men, do you think they will deliver?
I have confidence in Ude, no doubt. He's a senior advocate of Nigeria. He's very young. But the area of assignment is another thing of concern to me.
Information and technology?
Information, science, information technology. And from the last I checked, somebody who read law can be branded to be a scientist.
Maybe he's become a tech enthusiast.
Probably being enthusiastic towards something does not also invalidate the fact that you are not into that.
So that also leaves us with the, would I say, the microscope, looking at the fact that we are still making appointments based on political alignments.
It's not about based on
capacity to develop.
See, I have seen most of the appointments, but you give credit to Bola Tinubu to an extent. In fact, during the time of Buhari, it was upside down. But for President Muhammadu Buhari, some key appointments he has made, he brought people.
You mean President Bola Tinubu?
Bola Tinubu, sorry. Some key appointments he has made, he brought people who are close to what he assigned them to do. But I want to see appointments in this country where those who have been appointed into those roles have shown capacity in previous engagements as it relates to that role. They have shown and demonstrated competence. We don't see some of these things. If you are asked what has Ude done in his life, the only thing you can reckon it would be that he's a senior advocate of Nigeria. For you to be a senior advocate of Nigeria, I don't know whether it was bought or genuinely earned, because I know very well for you to be a senior advocate of Nigeria, you must not be renting any apartment. You must have your own. There are some conditions before you apply, and those things will be verified. You must have your own building. Your law firm must belongs to you, not on a rented apartment. Your chamber, your library, there are some things they shake. And also your performances in most cases in the court. These ones are there too. So, but what the point I'm trying to make here is very simple. He's a fine gentleman, no doubt. Enugu State Governor nominated him. I think that's the first gain he has made for joining APC. Before now, the person that was removed, Oga, ran against him and he was compensated for being the APC candidate. So, but now, being a member of APC, once you're a member of APC and you're in good terms with Mr. President, the President will always ask you to be the person that will nominate that very person. It happened in another person. That was why the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs was nominated by another party, because the person is in good terms with the president. And it has been a tradition set by Obasanjo. If you're not in good terms with Mr. President, he will not ask you to nominate the person. So, Peter Mba, the first gain he has recorded for joining APC is nominating a member of his cabinet, because this man in question is a member of Peter Mba's cabinet. Are you not aware? He's a member of his cabinet. He's a member of his cabinet, a commissioner. The man he's a former commissioner to Peter Mba, now a minister. So it tells you a lot.
All right, then we keep our fingers crossed, hoping that tomorrow Anambrarians go to the polls and express their franchise. We take a break now, attend to some commercials. When we come back, we open up the phone lines. To stay.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread, Opa chichane dozialo. Wendy's bread, Mama Papa they like Wendy's bread, chichane nyanduo. Wendy's bread, even children they like Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, Anita. Wendy's bread, you get it better tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread, Wendy's your bachichama. Wendy's bread,
Wendy's bread, tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, 2nd Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Misha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tandy Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
Are you tired of living with pain, stress, or sleepless nights? It is time to experience true healing the natural way at Dr. Lilong Wellness Center. At Dr. Lilong Wellness Center, we combine traditional Chinese medicine (TCM), physiotherapy, and massage therapy to help your body heal, relax, and recover naturally. Whether it is stroke, arthritis, insomnia, prostatitis, or high cholesterol, our expert therapists are here to guide you towards a healthier, pain-free life. From full body massage to sub-health therapy, we bring balance and vitality back to your system because at Dr. Lilong Wellness Center, your wellness is our priority. Visit us today at number 18 Angel Toby Street, Toby's bus stop opposite Church Gate Pharmacy, Maryland Estate, Oyolo 33, or call 0806 075 2900. 0806 075 2900. Get your health back to 100% by simply booking a reservation at Dr. Lilong Wellness Center 33, your home of total wellness and recovery.
The countdown is over. Anambra Decides 2025 is here. And the future of our state is about to be written by you, the voter. This Saturday, November 8th from 7 a.m., Udala Radio 104.7 FM goes live across Anambra, bringing you every heartbeat, every update, and every voice that matters on election day. Join our anchors, Franklin Ibuka and Dr. Tony Olisambeki, as they lead the state's most trusted coverage with live field reports, expert analysis, citizen reactions, and real-time results from polling units and collation centers. From Onitsha to Oka, Nnewi to Ihiala, Obosi to Obaru, will keep you informed, inspired, and empowered to make your vote count. Because your voice is your power, and your choice shapes the future of Anambra. Stay with the voice of the region. Stay with Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Anambra Decides 2025. Live, authentic, and unbiased. Saturday, November 8th from 7 a.m. Your vote, your voice, your future. Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
It is your turn now to join the conversation. Put a call across to 0803-221-6973, 0803-827-6694. You can also drop a comment on Facebook. Our handle is Udala Radio 104.7 FM. You have a minute. Go straight to the point and, of course, be as objective as possible. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Mr. Speaker. Good morning.
You're welcome. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
And I'm calling from Onitsha.
Your name is?
Monday Johnson.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, please, because of the want of time, I would have directed my thoughts on two issues. On the issue of Sharia law,
hello, Monday, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
I have my reservations on that. So I won't go into detail because of time. But I will tell you,
I think you would need to reconnect Monday because the network from your end is not favorable. Good morning.
hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Tony.
You're welcome.
The other person, the other guest in the house, I welcome you.
His name is Franklin Ebuka. Good morning to you too. What's your name? Where you're calling from?
Welcome, everybody. I am again in the Boka original. I'm calling from Beachhead.
Let's hear you. Go ahead. You have 1 minute. It's counting already.
Okay. What I have is this. What you are discussing is okay, but what I have to put my intake is that I want to start by asking questions. What is the collective intake of our so-called parliamentarians on the present issue? I'm talking of the one where just everybody is talking about of Trump and the Nigerian genocidal whatever. Please, what is their intake collectively? Because this is what happened to Nigerians. Then the second question is this. The APC government, if I may allege, has something in mind, and that is what prompted their fielding Muslim candidate about the Nigerian polity as a nation. Then number 3 thing I'm saying is this. If Trump should speak boldly, the supposed mouths of the Christian religious leaders on the said genocidal something, which those people were moved, they couldn't talk of all those things. Please, I will say that let him continue whatever he wants to do, provided this anomaly is being corrected now. Because if nothing tangible is done this very time around, these people can go further and do more things on this. So
okay, thank you very much for your contribution, Reginald. Good morning.
Good morning, Kisum. Dr. Tony Sabiki and the Franklin. Very good morning to you all. Chidi Chukuma joining you from.
Go ahead, please.
Yes, the forthcoming election, the atmosphere is very nice, and the people are moving around peacefully, and we're expecting that during this election coming tomorrow that it will be even better. And also after the election, we're expecting the peace before, during, and after election. And that is why we are telling to people who are here, the Anambarians are the residents of Anambra State, to play their own part, making sure that this election is free and fair. And also, the security agency that they are doing their work. I haven't seen any harassment except blocking the road and collecting money. That one is, I think, it has come to be the usual thing throughout tonight, especially here in Anambra State. So despite that one, every place is very, very peaceful. And also for the threat coming from, if you call it so, from Trump, I think the man is just trying to make peace. America remain the peace or police of the world. Anybody can say it. And what he's doing is the right thing, and I can see that our president is being more diplomatic than most of the people around him. Because he sees the way, the language some of them have used. Even some leaders or traditional rulers somewhere.
We should be rounding off now.
They are making. You begin to ask questions. Whether they have any human heart at all, looking at the excellence that is going on, even the little children, if you see the picture of the excellence, even very young babies, even girls, tell me what those young people do that will warrant people to kill them like that. And it many churches that are continually being born, because even this week, I had a particular church was born down, and some people were killed, and some people are playing with that. You don't play politics with human life. And I know what America can do, because for one, so if you ask him that America will come down from entering America, he can never believe that. And that is what being reactionary is. And most of the people that will feel that they are free to enter America, some of them cannot do that.
Okay, Chidi Chukuma, I have to let you go. Stick to the 2 minutes mark. Go straight to the point. 0803-221-6973, 0803-827-6694. And of course, you can go to Facebook at Udala Radio 104.7 and drop your comment. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Emmanuel calling from Onitsha.
Go ahead, Emmanuel.
Please, the only thing I want to say is I'm just begging God to make Trump to keep this fire burning, so that we will know whether even the United Nations will support him, because we have suffered too much. And let them stop talking of banning of Sharia. Let them give the Northern as their Sharia. And give them maybe United Nations will put another. They will give them their own state. Give the South that is their own state. Yes. We cannot manage double position in the same country. We cannot do this. Nobody does this. It doesn't work anywhere. Sharia law, any traditional law, any Christian law, none of them was mentioned in our constitution. The Sharia law was mentioned more than several times. So let them keep the fire burning. Let us know whether good thing will come out from here. Whether this country will integrate so that they will have their Sharia.
Okay, sorry, I have a question.
Are you listening?
Do you think that the UN has a say in who becomes an independent state?
No, it doesn't.
We have been struggling over Palestine and Israel for a long time, and the UN hasn't even been able to do anything on that.
They don't have that power. Most times, people mistake one thing or the other, so they don't have such powers. They don't tell you how you live.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Akamere.
Go ahead, Akamere.
I'm calling from Fiji. I just want to react on this Trump issue. Also, I want to use this medium to advise Nigerian government. Please, they should not take this information or this news that is coming from American as a Nigerian thing. Because I saw the way these Arewa youths, they are coming out and say they don't want this ban on Sharia law. And also what I learned there is that these people, they support their own. Even if they are killing people, they support their own. Because I think as a normal human being, what Trump has said and the direction the Trump has given is for this country to sit up, to see that this killing, even if it is Christian or Muslim, let this killing stop. But now they are reacting and saying that they don't want all this ban and all these things, to show that they know what is happening in the north and they support it. And all these other countries that to support Nigerians, are they not hearing all these killings in Benue and all these things? What are they been saying since then? Until now that Trump has said something, all of them are working, trying to say something. But what I want to tell the Nigerian government, I think these people are preparing, because
I have to let you go.
At news now, you know that Trump has called those militaries to prepare for war.
Okay. Good morning. Hello? Hello? Oh my God. You need to reconnect. We're heading over to Facebook now. It's at Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Last call for the morning. If you can do this in a minute, please go ahead.
Good morning, sister. Good morning, all of you.
Good morning. Please go ahead.
A caller is from Treasury.
Go ahead, please.
All right. No, I don't see something wrong for Trump whatever he said of coming to possibly put off killings of human beings, in Nigeria. I would say something wrong about it. Let's get it right. I'm not criticizing people's rights. Please, whether they have rights of intervening into any country, then you really let me say lecture towards that. No, it is important to bribe human beings. No, they are have said this before, protecting killings of human beings. No, the Christians have been genocide around the world, and what has happened? Not even the United Nations Court ever had some time back. You can remember that the Trump went to see the what they call UK, just less than 24 hours. The Germans pronounced the Palestinian and support of the Palestinian state. Now it's a mission of possibly what they call it, humanism, the Islamization of the world. The mission that has been happening in America. what prompted, what do we call it, the power of the land or whatever, to burn the American whatever house. So I thought it's the right time, and it is more than right time. I mean, people are doing things all the while. Remember the attack at what has been happened this week in those states? It's not remembering. So I think it is okay. What UN is coming another thing for the election? And therefore, they really done something good, partly to compare the overseeing of the elections of other people. Why don't they doing our state or even our state elections? They are frauds. They have never sent something positive in the United Nations Agreement and said whatever. And in the EU. And some told us, it made us know that the UK is building the highest mosque in the world. And that the Westerners are the supporters of so-called jihadists. It's killing all over the world. So, send our message to American people. What to do now, we can awaken them. Let them come and save lives. So, God comes human beings. What is all about it?
I have to let you go. You've exceeded 2 minutes. Let's go to Facebook.
Okay, so from Master SJ, he says no reason for Nigerian government to panic over threat by US to invade terrorists. Nigerian government has failed the citizens in a bid to protect them. And I think I was just trying to summarize what he wrote. Then Henry Elu says he posted from Show Light. He says this election has already been hijacked by political actors. We all applied as INEC ad hoc staff for November 8th election, and we are invited for 3 days intensive training last week. Yesterday, INEC released the list of the officials, and none of us that partook in the training made a list here in Udala local government area. I have contacted our facilitator, who told us that he was surprised that those that partook in the training were suddenly replaced by unknown names. At the Central School Attorney, our names were pasted there as a mark of shortlist, only to be hijacked overnight. We are owed our feeding and transport allowance for 3 days. Please, I call on INEC and other relevant agencies to investigate the fraud at Udala local government area a few hours to the gubernatorial poll. And he said for clarity purpose, and he dropped his ad hoc number so that anybody can verify. Okay, thank you for that information. Dr. Mr. Molebra from Owerri says that this election is a defining moment for people of Anambra State. There will be no power play, intrigues, rigging, manipulation, thuggery, violence, and the do or die. Of serious concern is the way money has become a key issue. Power belongs to the people, and they should be allowed to choose their leader. We reject politics of deceit, and she's saying that may peace reign in Anambra State. Cheluzie Prince says he posted from Onitsha, and he says, Becky, okay, he said, Tony Becky, you made a statement saying in some countries they ask people to show where they voted before they admitted into any school that they want to attend. And he said, can you tell us at least one country where such has been done? And then Ichie Billion says Trump is bluffing. What Trump wants is to instill confusion in Nigeria that will force our beloved president, Uncle Bola Tinubu, to buy another useless military equipment. And he mentioned Tucana jet that will cost $500 billion the way Muhammad Buhari did during his tenure. And then he saw the opinion that they have been making Nigeria dry. Okoyang Oleka from Umoji, thank you for watching. Chisco Mwafo, and he says, with the security imported into Anambra State for the election, don't you think it will give masses more reason not to come out and cast their vote? Unless if you have anything to see, I don't know why people are always scared of when they see police. Is it because police have not been professional, or because
possibly?
But let me tell you one honest truth I know about. You see, this is not a defense of the security forces, but I have seen that sometimes the reason people have altercations with security operative is the way we react.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. So let's say you are driving and you are wound up. You come to checkpoint and you are told to wind down, and you ask, why should I do that?
But that's the right thing to do.
Exactly. But some persons will ask first, why should I do that?
And if it's dark, please turn on the light. That's basic
Then the other post we have here, Ugochukwu Frank says Tinubu will be surprised to see Nigerians rolling out the red carpet for Trump and his army when they finally arrive. These are the consequences of a very corrupt system of government in Nigeria. And the Gospel Okoye, thank you for joining because of time.
Yeah, we leave it there.
Chinenye Precious Cyril, the Collins, Uzoma Wakwe, Lechi Christian, Ilo Okam, Maaze Chidi Nelson, thank you all for dropping by and dropping your comments.
All right, thank you very much for your calls and your contribution. Tony, what would your last words be?
I think I will encourage our people to go out here tomorrow and do that very, very important tax by voting. And then somebody was saying that, can you tell us which country that if you don't vote, you won't get admission? I didn't say that. I say that by the time you will get the confidence and trust in the system, we may have a situation in the future where we may say, if you do not vote, you may not get.
So you're proposing stringent
hypothetical.
measures.
That's what it's hypothetical. I'm saying that by the time you get certain things done right. But then remember, in Brazil, if you do not vote in Brazil, the country has a compulsory voting law. You can be denied access to obtaining a passport, international passport, ID card, or even public employment. You may not get employment because you did not vote. That's Brazil. There are some countries that have compulsory voting law, like Belgium and even Singapore, Argentina, and Australia. These countries have a compulsory voting law. But we are saying that hypothetically, if we get things right, we may adopt one of those things. Our home could be, may not get admission. It may. That is the language there.
All right, thank you, Tony.
So it's good to listen and listen well. Then let me say, Ogeniwo made the comment. He said Trump should continue because he was asking questions about Christian leaders. Where have they been? They have not been speaking. But I want to tell him that Trump is talking today based on a testimony which was made by the Catholic Bishop of Makurdi Diocese. He was in US where he made a testimony about what has been happening in Benue, where he said he had lost about 14 parishes because of an invasion by herdsmen and what have you not. So whatever is happening now was based on effort made by Bishop Wilfred Anabwe.
Yeah, Wilfred Anabwe made that very effort, and then he made that very statement in the United States of America. And just like I said, there are a lot of triggers. And Trump believes definitely for his evangelical mission society, that's the church he actually worships with. He believes that he has a duty as the most powerful nations to protect Christians wherever they are. Just as Iran would like to protect Muslims anywhere in the world, the same way America is trying to see if they can protect Christians, but most importantly, you must act within international laws. But just like I said, somebody said he disagreed with me because I said we don't need Trump. I said ideally, if things were to be the way they ought to be, we may not need that.
All right, make sure tomorrow you go out to vote and comport yourself, being your best behavior. We're also hoping that stakeholders, political parties, and all security officials play by the rules of the game. Happy voting. Thank you for being a part of the Polity today. By Monday, we should be reviewing the election. Hope to see you here. Same time, 9:15 down to 11 a.m. Until then, I am Chisom Chinedu. Good morning.
Udala Radio, 104.7 FM.
This life no balance. We wake up early, work hard, sleep late. Then we do it over and over again in the pursuit of success.